So you've got your 2 and you go 2 times 2 equals 4. You start off with your 2. Okay, and then you come down, you go 2 times 4 equals 8. And then 4 times 8 equals 32. So you can see it's gaining upon itself. It's a compounding equation. Alright? It's like this. You have an experience in life. And you take this experience and you go, okay, I've just had that kind of experience. And then you move on in life. And then you're standing here. Well, wisdom is for you to come now into this next experience, but also to bring your last experience with you into this experience as well. Okay? And then you have another experience, and the way you perceive it this time is based on what you're going through now, but what you take into consideration what you experienced before as well. That's learning from your experiences, right? That's wisdom. And then you have that, and then you move on again to the next experience. And now you have 2 others that you've had. So you keep growing as you're going along. It's called wisdom. Alright? That's the mathematical expression of wisdom, is a recursive equation. So that's one way to understand that this precessional cycle, this cycle to end all cycles, has harmonically wisdom built into it. For us as universal beings to incarnate on this planet and to gather the wisdom necessary for our souls. The energy is there for us to use that. The harmonics are there. Also, you can take the numbers and you go 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 3 plus 2 equals 19. 19 is a very important number. It's actually a mathematical expression of the goddess feminine energy. Okay, so the energies that we're moving into now is more feminine nurturing energies of creation. We're getting away from that male-dominated bastion type of energy of power, greed, ego, violence, control, all that sort of stuff. It's important that we all understand nurturing energies. It's due. It's well overdue, those energies. Okay, if we take this equation another step, we've gone 4 times 8 equals 32. If we go 8 times 32, all right, equals 256. Now the square root of 256 equals 16. That again is what's called a golden ratio number, golden mean. Now I apologise, I can't go through explaining what that is. There just isn't the time. I urge everybody to look into the golden ratio and the golden mean. When you understand what that is, you will be absolutely amazed. It is the harmonics of everything that exists in life. The shape of leaves, your body, the ratios of your hands to the distance between your eyes, everything's involved in what this is called the golden ratio. So it was imperative that it was involved with this equation. Also, 256 is a very important number because we have 2 magnetic grids on this planet, okay? And this is where physics and the flower of life gels together, okay? Everything that I'm explaining to you, everything that you read about in these spiritual books, the Ascension process can be expressed through physics, okay? What they say is when matter and antimatter collides, they annihilate themselves, and all that's left is like a couple of showers of light, or just photon streams, okay? What really happens is, here you have your matter grid and your antimatter grid. Okay, there's 2 magnetic grids going around the planet, because it's balanced polarity, right? You need to have that. Now when they collide, when you can bring the 2 together, you create what's called the Vesica Pisces. So in here, you have the Christed energy, you have the positive and the negative, and here you have the golden light of Christ. Okay? Once you have that golden energy and you merge the 2 together, that then gives you the ability, right, to move in and out of realities. So what happens is when matter and antimatter collide, they merge the positive and negative side of polarity and they disappear into another dimension. That's what happens. And that's why they say they take. And that ancient symbol, which is in just about every culture, of ancient culture in the world, this is it. This is explaining that. And that's the ascension process. We will take these 2 grids within ourselves, we will create the Vesica Pisces, we'll bring the 2 together, our matter and antimatter magnetic grids within our body embodiments, and we'll be able to merge the two and go off into another reality. Okay, because you have your waves. Okay, and your first cycle is your positive cycle, and your second cycle is the negative cycle. Okay, in your sine waves, polarity. Okay, so we're compressing the two together. You bring the two together and then off you go. Disappear into another reality. That's basically what happens when matter and antimatter collide. Alright, so that matter grid and antimatter grid have a harmonic resonance. The difference between the two grids, right, the difference between them just happens to be 2, 5, 4, 5 harmonic. So this number correlates with that harmonic. It sits in between the two grids. It's kind of like a crossed harmonic, a golden harmonic. Measured at 1 geodetic inch. Okay? Because we're talking harmonics, so it's minutes of arcs and that energy. We're not interested in square centimetres. Okay? We're doing it another type of measurement here. So that shows how important this equation is. It just plugs in everywhere. It's plugged into the grid. It's showing you the feminine expression of the goddess energy, which is now coming through, and we have the recursive factor here. So the next step in the equation is going 32 times 256, and that equals 8192. That's an incredibly important number. Okay, if you put a line down the middle there and you put a couple of little pluses here, you have 911. So it gives you your 911 gateway. That's what 9 represents, is the ending of the cycle, okay, going through the two pillars of polarity. That's what it represents. And that's why those buildings were hit on that day. And that's why the emergency number for a certain country is that number, because the establishment that controls things here wants as much fear around those numbers as possible in the psyche of the people. Okay, because they're such important numbers. They just want fear around those numbers, and that's why Spain was hit exactly 911 days after the two buildings were hit. Okay, and for those in the mystery, exactly the same people that control the terrorists are exactly the same people behind the so-called coalition of the willing. There is no different, and I stand by this, and this is going on tape. This number also happens to be the harmonic of the acceleration of the speed of light on the planet, because light is not, it's not like a machine, it's not constant. It's a different speed at the equator than what it is at the poles. And so while we have here, I'll draw the equator, 0 degrees, okay. That is the number of the harmonic at 60 degrees latitude on our planet. Is that number correlates, and it's 81918 is the harmonic involved there. Okay, very, very important number. And when you look at that numerically, also, 9 is the ending of the cycle between the two pillars of polarity, flanked either side by the infinite wisdom of God. Okay? Very, very powerful number, that one.